proper burial for a man who died in 1798. He was known as Mr. Fortune and spent his life as a slave. 215 years later, his body lay in repose today at the state capitol. Now, a funeral service is about to get underway in Waterbury. NBC Connecticut's Seth Lemon there live with more. Seth.
Yeah, Jerry. Well, because of the laws at the time, Fortune was only considered 3/5 of a person. But now the crowd is filing into the church here, giving him a proper burial. He endured the hardships of slavery, and he wasn't treated much better after his death. But that all changed today. Not one person who came to honor Mr. Fortune knew him or his family. They came to celebrate the former slave known only by his first name, who was abused and mistreated not only in life, but also in death.
During his lifetime, he was considered less of a human, practically an animal.
Stephen Mullins helped organize today's ceremonies and recalled Fortune's history. Owned by a bone doctor, Fortune became one of his slave master's experiments.
He was a slave and was basically enslaved after his death by being used for scientific research without his permission and not being allowed to have a proper burial.
How Fortune died is still a mystery. His owner used his body to teach physicians about anatomy. For much of the 20th century, Fortune's bones were put on display at the Madison Museum until they were taken down in the 1970s.
So finally, he's going home.
Today, more than 200 years since his death, Fortune's body was treated as much more than a cadaver or museum exhibit, as he lied in state in the Rotunda of Connecticut State Capitol.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
We don't stand alone. And right now, that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that he is not by himself.
Joel Dodson and Michael Thomas say they feel a connection to Fortune.
I'm going to be his relative. We're all his relatives.
And Stephen Mullins says this is a lesson for us all, that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
It is for us, the living, to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again.
Now, after all these centuries, Fortune's body will finally be laid to rest tonight at Riverside Cemetery. And while we may never know how he died, it is certainly true that his life had tremendous impact, more than he or his family as slaves could have ever imagined. In Waterbury, Seth Lemon, NBC Connecticut News. Lisa?